Hi, Junie. Come here. Did you come to look at my foundation? What do you think? Is it Juniper approved? Hi everyone, I'm Tashina from Logical Harmony. Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a first impressions and wear test of the new Bite Beauty Changemaker Foundation. Now, they recently sent me this massive package of cruelty-free and vegan goodies, and I was so excited to share it with you guys. So that's just gonna slide right off the top apparently. So I opened it up and there's two different primers in here. They launched one for normal to dry skin and one for normal to oily. They sent me 3 shades of the new Changemaker Foundation. It does come in 32 shades and they picked 3 that they thought would be the closest for me. They also sent me 2 shades of their pressed powder. Now this comes in 8 shades. And again, they picked the shades that they thought would go best. They sent me a bunch of these new vegan lipsticks, which is what I'm wearing today. And they also sent, if I can get this open, their Agave Plus lip mask. This now comes in the original and this like champagne color in a vegan formula, which is super duper exciting. So if you're not familiar with Bite, they are cruelty free and they have tons of vegan options. They initially didn't have any, and it's been amazing to see their change. And I believe they are now, if not soon, going to be fully vegan, which is super cool to see. You can get them at Sephora, you can get them on their own website. They did send me this stuff and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm going to start with the Changemaker primer. This one is for normal to dry skin. They do also make one for normal to oily, but I have dry skin, so I'm gonna give this one a try. It feels nice. It feels lightweight, like it feels like a moisturizer. It doesn't feel slinky like a silicone primer, and it doesn't feel tacky, but it just feels like I'm putting like my daily moisturizer on. It feels really nice. It feels very light. It doesn't have a scent either, which I like. I think that is a nice touch. Okay, so they did send me 3 shades of the Changemaker Foundation. We have L30, L40, and L45, and I'm not sure which one is going to be the best, so I'm just going to swatch them on my face and we will find out together. So this one is L30. So one's a little bit light. And they do have a shade matcher on their website as well. It does require you to give them access to your camera and upload a photo, which I just didn't feel comfortable doing because I was curious what shade it would think I was, but I wasn't comfortable with allowing that, so that didn't happen. Okay, so this one is, so we have L30, L40, and L45, and none of those are a perfect match. I have heard that the foundation oxidizes, so I think what I'm gonna do is go with, I feel like right now, I feel like right now this one is a better match, but since I'm worried it will oxidize, I'm gonna go with the lighter one. Actually, maybe I'll mix those two together. Yeah, I'll mix those two. And I'm just gonna rub that on for now. Actually, the 3 together kind of worked really well. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little bit of each, the L30 and the L40, and mix that on the back of my hand. And it says that this is best applied with your fingers or with a brush. And I don't normally apply makeup with my fingers, but I kind of wanna see because it seemed like that was definitely the preferred way to do it. Looking at like their product education and their application videos, it seemed like applying it with your fingers is kind of what it was made to be like. And it is a medium coverage that it says is buildable, so we're gonna find out about that. And that it comes in 32 shades, and I did feel like there are different undertones as well. 32 shades is an okay range. I mean, I don't know, without seeing the shades on everyone, I can't really speak to that, but I'm glad they at least like launched a decent amount instead of like some brands come out and launch like 6 shades, and that's not even trying. So I'm gonna rub this in with my fingers. Again, it feels like I'm applying a moisturizer. It's very lightweight feeling. The coverage is really good. I had read some really mixed reviews about the coverage of this, like some people saying it wasn't even light coverage, but I feel like it's covering my redness, it's covering my freckles, like it's covering anything I would want covered. I'm even gonna see how well it covers like my under eyes and stuff. Like honestly, look at my under eyes. Like I feel like this is good coverage. People cannot say that this is light coverage. And maybe it just depends on how you apply it. Because obviously if you go in with a sponge, for example, it's going to absorb a little more of the product up front. And so it's going to be more of a sheer coverage and a sheer finish. That's the thing with reviews, for me at least. Now put my hat back down. I haven't washed my hair in like 5 days, so this is the solution for now because I really need to do laundry. A struggle for me with reviews is I really like to see how people applied product because sometimes that can make such a huge difference. And so when it's the written reviews on the website, it can sometimes be really tough to tell because you don't know how people primed their skin, you don't know how they set it, you don't know how they applied it. Like so many of these other factors, even just not knowing their skin type, can really factor into wear a foundation. So I think it's just so helpful to know that stuff and to be able to see it. And that's why I love video reviews, like so many of you guys, because you can actually kind of see things. Like I remember there was a foundation a while ago. What was it? It was from Too Faced. And they specifically said, like, do not use it's a gel foundation, like do not use a damp beauty blender to apply it. And every review I was reading or watching, someone used a damp beauty blender to apply it. And it just looked terrible. So I think that it's good. It's good to check in on the product and it's good to take into consideration things like that with reviews too. Like everyone's skin is different. Everyone's preference is different. Like light coverage to one is not light coverage to another, for example. I think I put on plenty. This has a very slight smell. I would not say it's fragrance free. I don't even know that it claims to be fragrance free, but it is a very subtle smell. It's a light, like floral, clean smell. I'd say, I don't want to say it's like laundry soap, but I would say it's along those lines. So I'm going to put some concealer on under my eyes just to brighten. So I'm using the Milk Makeup Flex Concealer for that. And I think, honestly, I might use my fingers to blend this out too, because I really like how this foundation looked with my fingers. It's not streaky. It's not weird. I think it looks nice. And I feel like this is a concealer that works really well with every foundation. It's not the most full coverage concealer, which I think is good. It's very buildable, but because of that, I think it's like, it blends well with any foundation. Like you're going to be able to see how it works together and you're going to be able to see how the foundation actually performs. Whereas I feel like when I do a foundation demo, sometimes I wear a more full coverage concealer. And I think sometimes that can change kind of how the coverage of the foundation is because you know, you blend them together. So sometimes it can make the foundation seem a little more full coverage than it necessarily is on its own, or it might like separate. And so I thought going in with a lighter concealer would be good. I do really feel like this foundation did a good job prepping my under eyes and it covered a lot of the darkness. I get really sensitive about that. So certain concealers work really well with it. Certain ones don't. So they sent me 2 different shades of their Changemaker pressed powder. They sent me light 1 and light 2. And I was looking at these and I'm a little nervous about these shades, but let's give it a try. Let's see how this goes. This is light 2. So this is a darker one. This does come in 8 shades, I believe I read. So, oh yeah, that is a lot darker on the skin than it looks like. So I'm just gonna pat this on. It's saying it mattifies and it's gonna help obviously set the foundation. And I feel like, okay, this powder is a lot darker than I was expecting. So I might actually add some of the lighter one because I feel like it's a little too dark now. Yeah, let me get that other one. So I keep patting that on my face. Yeah, that's way too dark. So this is the shade Light 1, which in the pan, this looks very, very light. So let's see if it's like light 2. So that's what it's like on the puff. It still looks okay. It is not as light as I was expecting. Wow. All right. That is fascinating. I wonder, okay, so I've watched a lot of reviews of people who were also sent the same PR kit. And usually I don't watch reviews of products that I've been sent before I do the first impressions. I want to really have it be a true first impressions and really go in without any idea of what it's like. A lot of people said that this foundation oxidized. Now what I'm wondering is if it was not necessarily the foundation, but the powders, just because they're way darker than I was expecting, like way darker. Like I feel like I needed a lighter concealer. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. It's not terribly off, but if it oxidizes, this is going to be too dark for me. So let's just see how it goes. I'm gonna skip bronzer, I think. Maybe I'm gonna carve out my cheekbones a little bit more. So I'm gonna put some blush on, and I wanted to see how products applied on top of it and how they looked. Because I always like to share that in my foundation videos with you guys. So I'm using the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in Always Cheeky. It's one of my absolute favorite blushes. Then I'm gonna do a tiny bit of bronzer just to add some definition. So I'm using the 100% Pure Powder Foundation in Golden Peach. This is like my go-to for a very neutral bronzer, something that just adds a little bit of color and a little bit of definition in those areas, but it's not like bronzy. And I think using a powder foundation is so great for that. You can just really really get a customized bronze, because I feel like so many bronzers, they have like, you know, companies will make a bronzer and they'll give you 2 shade options, like a light and a dark, and they don't always work for you. Like sometimes you need an in between. I'm going to bronze this to help balance that out. I do feel like it is already oxidizing and getting a little darker, so that is good to know. For highlight today, I'm going to just use my Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette, and I'm going to use the middle shade, which is, I don't remember. Oh, Incandescent Light. This is an old, like, this is such an oldie but goodie palette, and I feel like I've kind of rediscovered it lately and fallen back in love with it. And it's so good. Also, do you guys remember when it was a trend to use the dim light powder to set like all over your face? And I feel like Too Faced just launched a couple different like powder compacts that really remind me of this, because they have a similar vibe going on. Now that it's on my face, let's see how this looks in a mirror. It looks good. It is a little bit powdery, but that's honestly just because I should have just used light 2 from the get-go, but I didn't know that I needed to. Like, this looks so light in the compact, I didn't even think about it. So it does actually look really good on my skin. It's very smooth. It's not settling in anywhere. You can see like my texture a little bit, but it's not a pore filling primer. It's more of like a hydrating primer, and it feels so lightweight on my skin. Like, it does not feel like I have any makeup on. It feels like I just put like a heavier moisturizer, like a night cream or something on. It feels nice. It looks nice. I really like it so far. Is it oxidizing? I can't really tell if it's oxidizing yet. I feel like maybe a little, but again, I feel like adding the light 2 powder, that was so much darker than the foundation. I was not expecting that. So I think that's more of what it is. So I'm also going to use my Agave Plus lip mask, which I'm so excited they finally have a vegan version of this. I've heard amazing things about this lip mask, and it hasn't been vegan until now, and I'm so excited that they have a vegan version. Like, it's been amazing to see Bite add more stuff. Like, they went from literally having 0 vegan products to within like the past year and a half, they have primer, foundation, powder, multiple lip products, lipsticks. Like, it's really, really amazing to see how quickly they're changing it, and I'm really, really happy about it and really excited, because I had heard about Bite for so long and couldn't use any of it, and it made me really sad. So I'm glad that I can now. I'm also going to use this lipstick in Kava, which was sent to me as well. I really, really like these. I have a few that they've sent to me before, and the tip makes it really easy to line, and then you can very easily get right on your lips too. That's a really pretty shade. It's more cool. I mean, it's pretty cool toned, but I like it. So I'm going to finish up my eye makeup off camera, and then I will be back to kind of just update you guys on how the foundation is looking and wearing. So just 1 minute. I mean, literally not a minute. For you guys, it'll be like. So I finished up the rest of my makeup. I will list everything that I used down below. I used stuff from e.l.f., from Hourglass, from Too Faced, from Makeup Geek. Some of it was sent to me, and I do have an affiliate code for Makeup Geeks. If you use Logical Harmony, you get, I believe it's 10% off anything that you order. And when you use any of the affiliate codes or links, I do get a small percentage of the sales, and that helps to keep Logical Harmony running. So I really appreciate when you guys use those. Thank you so much to those of you that do. Okay, so now that the rest of my makeup is done, I do want to look at the foundation and see how it's doing. I do feel like it is oxidizing a tiny bit, but I'm also really wondering, like, okay, and this is why I try not to watch any reviews before I do a first impression, is would I feel that way if I had not heard that? You know what I mean? Like, would I notice it, would I say, oh, I think it's oxidizing, if I hadn't heard that from so many people? It's still looking really, really nice. It looks really natural. It looks really good. I'd say this is definitely, especially with the powder, it has the coverage of a more like medium to full foundation, but it does not feel like it on the skin. And that's something I really want to stress. It feels like a very, very lightweight foundation. It feels like a tinted moisturizer. It does not feel like a medium coverage foundation. I feel like the foundation had really good coverage on its own. I was happy with that. When you add the powder, it just takes the coverage up a whole other notch. So I think that if you want a natural everyday look, the foundation's going to be great for you. If you want more full coverage, get the powder too. They work really well together. I really struggle with powder foundations because I have dry skin. Even oftentimes using them to set a liquid foundation, they're too drying. It doesn't work for my skin. You can see more of all my dry spots and like problem areas like my pores. And I don't get that with most setting powders. Usually it's specific to powder foundations. And this is a pressed powder. It's not necessarily a powder foundation, but it's tinted. And tinted powders, I should say, that's where I tend to get the most issues from. I don't know why, but tinted powders are a problem for me. The Charlotte Tilbury one is great. That's pretty much the only one I can think of. The Au Naturel powder foundation is great on my skin as well, but a lot of them just emphasize my texture more. I really need to do as minimal powdering as possible. Now this one I used a puff for, which I don't normally do. I do usually use a brush, but it came with the puff, so I wanted to try it. And maybe that's part of what is making it look so nice, but my skin, sorry, I keep looking in the mirror and in the monitor, and then I have this little mirror. It just makes my skin look so even, and it looks different than a lot of foundations do on my skin. Like it looks really nice. I will say, from what I can see in the monitor, and I know my monitor is not true to color necessarily to the footage, in the monitor, it does look more orange and more oxidized than it does in the mirror. So in the mirror, I mean, it's darker than my hand. So I should have probably used the lightest shade, and then again, not gone in with the light 2 powder. This will be great for when I have a darker tan in the summer. But honestly, looking at them, it hasn't darkened that much compared to after I first applied it. Granted, it hasn't been a ton of time, but let's see how this goes. So I do want to do a wear test. I will check in with you guys later and just let you know how it's wearing, how it's looking, and if I see anything that I don't like, because as of right now, this is a really good foundation. Like, I am very, very impressed. I love foundations and I'm very picky about them. So I'm super impressed with how this is looking right now. And I will be back in a little bit to give you guys an update.
So you're doing a foundation check-in?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask your opinion on it because I want to see if you're seeing some of the same things that I am with it.
What are you seeing?
Well, I kind of feel like maybe it oxidized a little bit, but I can't tell for sure. I also might have just like gone a shade too dark because the pressed powder is tinted and it was a lot darker than I thought it would be. So I started with the darker one. I
don't know that I know what oxidization means or looks like.
It means it's like getting darker or maybe a little orange.
Ah, yep.
Yeah?
I do see that.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just close this. It looks like I'm wearing a gray sweatsuit, which I kind of am.
You kind of are.
Yes, I see what you mean. It does look a little orangey, especially because there are some spots where your makeup doesn't quite, like right here, where your makeup doesn't totally go to the line of your lip. You can see your underlying skin tone, and it's definitely not this orangey.
Okay.
As far as like getting darker, I didn't see it when you first put it on.
You saw me yeah, you did. I mean, I guess right after I'd filmed. So you saw me like 15 minutes ago. It hasn't been on super long.
I don't think it looks too dark.
Okay, think about what it looks like now because...
Well, I kind of think maybe it's looking so dark to you because you just self-tanned after not doing that for a while.
I bet you're right. Yeah, everything looks really dark to me.
Yeah, like whenever I edit videos of yours, like right after you self-tan, I'm always like, what's going on with my lighting? I'm like, oh, nothing's going on. All the settings are the same. You just look slightly darker. Okay.
But do you think it looks good on the skin overall?
Yeah, I like it. Although now that you said the orangey thing, I feel like I can't unsee it.
Okay.
So there's that. Come here, Jeannie.
Okay, well, let's just see how it wears, and then I'll do another check-in in a bit. I just wanted to confirm with someone else.
Yeah.
So we'll be back.
We'll be back. That was fun. Whoa, where is he?
Okay, so it has been 6 hours since I filmed the first part of today's video. I've not done any touch-ups. I didn't apply a setting spray. I just wanted to really be able to do this really good wear test and just update you guys on how it's wearing so far. Looking in my mirror and in the monitor, it still looks really good. I don't think it continued to oxidize, but I would suggest getting a shade lighter than you think you might need. I'm realizing too, it was very much the foundation because the powders that they sent me were light 1 and light 2, and those are the lightest shades that they make. And based on the photos of the models, they should have been way too light for the foundation. So I don't know if it was like the process of pressing the powder into the foundation, maybe that kind of triggered the oxidization. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep testing it out. If you guys want a full review video on this foundation and this collection, comment and let me know, because I've already gotten a lot of requests for it. So let me know if you want to see that. I'm gonna go ahead and look at it up close. It's looking really, really good. Like it's looking really nice. The problem areas I have where usually the foundation rubs off during the day, I am not seeing that. And that is very impressive to me. That's like more staying power than a lot of foundations have. It's not settling in anywhere. It is still like showing my pores. Like my skin doesn't look super flawless, but it's not supposed to either. It doesn't claim to do that. It's just looks really smooth and really even, and I feel like my skin looks really nice. It's not oily, it's not greasy, it's not too matte either. And I feel, again, like that primer, the foundation, and the powder, I mentioned this like when I first did my makeup, it feels like nothing on the skin, and it's continued to feel like nothing. But I'm very, very impressed with this. The fact that I haven't had to do any touch-ups, I haven't had to like buff out any areas again with the Beauty Blender to kind of like smooth it out. I've just left it alone, and I feel like it looks really, really nice. So again, if you guys want a full review of this foundation, let me know. I'm gonna keep doing some wear tests on my own, but that is going to be it for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you wanna see an update on that. And if you've used this, comment, let me know how it worked for you. I'm super, super curious because I've heard pretty mixed things about it. Like I feel like overall people really like it, but some people are having some really big struggles with it. So I'd love to hear about that, and maybe we can help each other out in the comments. I'll see you next time. And just hanging out with Juniper. If you guys want to see more of us, make sure you watch another video here. You can check out the vlog channel here, and make sure you subscribe and make Juniper's day right here.